Hey there, Axia trader. Mike here, coming at you with another one from Chicago, Illinois. And today we're going to talk about the FOMC and basically cover what happened, how you could have prepped for it, and some key things to take away for those future central bank meetings, which are such a key part of our edge domains here at Axia. All right, let's get into it. One thing that I want to just reiterate here is, again, that this is such a main part of our methodology here at Axia. And a lot of people commonly refer to central bank trading as this kind of like scary, intimidating beast. But in reality, it's one of the most opportunistic places to be able to express ideas because the market provides volatility, which is opportunity. So we'll talk about, again, just what happened, what matters now that it has happened, how to interpret what happened in the moment, and how to get better at interpreting that fast way to be able to execute and get the best prices. We'll talk about the key differences that professional traders identify between the screen dump and the presser. And that right there, folks, is such a critical part about sequencing, right? Those two parts of any central bank event are very important because the initial screen dump, when the market sort of has to digest and interpret the statement, the changes in the statement, things like the dot plot, which we'll talk a little bit about. That's one trade. The second trade, which is usually, I don't want to use the word easier, but it's usually a little bit more, it gives you more time to be able to access it, is going to be that presser where the Fed chair or the president of the ECB has to essentially answer questions, give guidance, and sort of tell the market whatever it needs to hear in order to reprice or maintain price. So let's jump into it. The first thing I'm going to touch on here is what happened. So some of the key things to note is, and folks, you'll notice here that in the Discord channel, which if you click that link below, elitetraderworkshop.com at 8:30 in the morning Central, so 9:25 Eastern, I just provided a quick FOMC prep for all of our participants to be able to kind of make sure that what they're looking at is similar to what we're looking at. And then you can see here 3 minutes after the initial release, Central Time would be 1 o'clock, Eastern 2 o'clock. I give a quick overview of what was delivered, the main takeaways, so that you can have that trading floor collective mindset by your side if you're trading at home, which I know most of you are. So again, click that link below and make sure you get involved with our Discord channel. So essentially what was expected was that the new Fed chair Warsh, who this would have been his first meeting, was in fact expected to hold, which was kind of in line. But the real trade was inside of the dot plot, okay? And the dot plot essentially was the consensus of the Fed chair or the Fed board, and what the sort of trade was what we were looking for. The trade that we were looking for was that there would be a revision to the dot plot and that they would change their views across that entire board. So what ended up happening, which was huge, was that the majority of the Fed went ahead and moved their perception of hikes up, as you can see here. They also removed a lot of the original statement, made it way shorter than before, basically. And you can see here, I've added this tweet from Nick Sombreros. Nick Sombreros is a Fed watcher who we keep a very close eye on. And he released this very quickly after the Fed released the screen dump. And basically, it was 9 out of 18 officials have at least one hike this year, and 6 of those 9 have multiple hikes. So that was an extra unexpected hawkish turnout. And we'll talk a little bit about price action in a minute here. Only one person had a cut this year, and one participant, presumably the Fed chair, didn't submit the summary of economic projections, which I'm not going to get too deep into the central bank science and where it stands right now, because this video is just to give you a window into what we do here at Axia. And if you want to get involved, obviously I'm here every day, 9:30 for that New York cash open. And we run a live trading floor every day where we cover these things live and direct. But effectively, the current Fed chair has given a lot of forward guidance as he's approached his first meeting, that he views things very differently than what we had with Fed Chair Powell. And one of those things was a summary of economic projections and the dot plot, which he didn't participate in. So that was a different kind of shock for the market to try to deal with and try to assess, which in turn provides opportunity. The statement got a complete rewrite from top to bottom, and it was much, much shorter. So the market had a lot to digest on that first sequencing. So let's talk about what matters and how that translates to the actual action in asset classes, okay? So first, what I've brought up for you here is the currency space. And what I've done is I've highlighted the screen dump, which is that initial release on the statement where you get to see the change in the statement, the dot plot, and the amount of feds that move their dot plot up or down or at the same. And you can see these assets here are the pound, the euro, which are directly correlated to that dollar. So as you can see, the dollar spiked on the screen dump while the aforementioned currencies dumped effectively on that hawkish response that was kind of unexpected. And on a important view as well, the gold, which a lot of people have been of this perception that gold needs to keep rising for the sake of inflation hedging. And when dollar rises, you tend to see an inverse correlation in that gold. So these were all totally accessible assets. You could have traded any of these and have gotten and extrapolated from that initial screen dump. Now, asset selection, however, is critical. And we're going to talk a little bit about some more of the assets that were kind of more favored by Axia traders and some that maybe wouldn't have been as favored or perhaps as opportunistic. And one of those actually is the S&P 500, where the S&P 500, although it did have the same sort of sequence where you can see on the screen dump here, it did drop. And then on the presser, it did drop. It was not the easiest one. And in fact, it was probably the hardest one, especially for juniors. So that's why a selection is a critical skill. And it's particularly critical when you are in your early stages because it's very easy to get caught out on the wrong asset when you could have gotten a much cleaner move on the right asset. What's so important as well is realizing that once you've gotten that first move, you want to be aware of sequencing. And before I kind of go into sequencing, I just want to point out here. So you can see here we have the 2s, the ZTs, the 5s, ZFs, the ZN, the 10-year, the ZB, the 30-year. Now, one thing you should notice on the topic of asset selection, notice how the 30-year, for example, on the initial screen dump, it does not assess the lows from the previous day, whilst the 5s, the 2s, and even the 10s all go to take out that low. And it's because the back end of the curve, the long end, has already been steepening pretty consistently, while the front end, the 2s and 5s, have been a little bit more of the view that the Fed would remain closer to dovish than hawkish. So this is where the opportunity came in, especially for those Axia traders who are experienced and have so much collective time on the floor planning for these specific selections in their trades, that they were able to attack the ZTs, or perhaps maybe they were attacking the SR3s, the 6-month curve, to be able to extrapolate on that initial screen dump. And remember, these assets are very liquid. The ZTs, the ZFs, they're very liquid. The ZN, very liquid. So you can get size through. And when you have that conviction around your central bank knowledge and that edge domain that you've developed, that's where you really make that life-changing money, folks. All right. Whereas the S&P, for example, although it does follow through, let's say you sold around the low and you were a little bit delayed, you don't get as much of a follow through, and the whip up goes all the way back to the initial, what we call scene of crime. Whereas something like the ZT doesn't even get close to the scene of crime. It's completely priced out that area as not even considered anymore, because that area would identify the opposite of what the Fed is communicating. And this is the key bit here, folks. This is why asset selection is so important. And of course, you wouldn't want to be trading the ZB, because you can see the ZB, the 30-year, is actually pricing in something else entirely. And if you want to know more about what the ZB is pricing in, we've talked a lot about it in these recent days now that we're about a week out from the Fed. As of this video, it's been exactly 1 week, and there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of sort of nuances and critical things that you as a day trader should be considering and looking at to get a better edge on your market opportunities. So where I'm going to close this is basically on the most important aspects of central bank trading, and really any data trading, particularly data that might move central banks. So what you execute and how you execute is very intentional. So in this example, I've got euro up here, and euro is directly correlated to the dollar. It's the heaviest weighted currency within the basket of the DXY. So therefore, any rising dollar on a hawkish Fed is going to see the inverse on the euro, where you get the screen dump, you see the drop, you see the consolidation into that pre-presser sequence, and then you see the follow through. And of course, those are two different trades that require two different skill sets. And most importantly, discipline, risk control, and then this one right here, which unfortunately we can't just hand that one to you. That one you have to train and effectively gain that experience. But the more intentional you are about those experiences, the more you have the conviction to put the size on and see those trades through into what becomes a profitable trading career. And folks, also having your trigger fingers ready with the right amount of size for the right kind of trade. So we have our news readers at Axia that are highlighted with specific colors. So before we even read it, we see the color and we have that Pavlovian response. Before we even read it, we have a Pavlovian response where the color that we've set to identify either hawkish or dovish gives us that initiation immediately to click in fastest finger first, full size, or at least half of the size, depending on where you are in your career, to capture that opportunity, capitalize on it, from experience, know when there's a consolidation likely due, and then once the pressure starts to clarify, look to break those lows, look to capture the follow through, look to capture the trend, and that is how you become a proficient intraday trader. And folks, notice it's a 45-second chart. So important that you review your central banks in a microstructure view, because those minute charts, those 3-minute, 5-minute charts, they're not going to give you the same edge when you're looking at it on a second perspective. So that's it for me today, folks. Click that link below, elitetraderworkshop.com, and we'll catch you on the next one.